but I think part of his little stanza goes, "He who kisses a joy as it flies lives to see eternity's sunrise."
Yes.
It's the joy that he kisses as it flies, not the pleasure,
No.
and it's as it flies. And what you said is that if he won't let it fly, holds it,
And
then we've fallen out of the act
then
of
it's
joy
pleasure, yes.
into this
pursuit of pleasure.
endless, repetitive, in the end, mournfully boring thing.
And I
called
think,
pleasure.
sir, that is what's happening in this country as well as in Europe and India. It's primarily in this country. The desire to fulfill instantly. The pleasure-seeking principle. Be entertained. Put more. If I go to be entertained.
This goes back to what you were pointing out earlier in the last conversation we had. Here somebody feels empty, needs to be filled.
Lonely.
Lonely, filled, looking for what we call fulfillment, filling up full.
Filling up full.
Filling up full. And yet, if one undertakes to make this act of attention that you referred to in our discussion about religion, in order to fill up the whole, then we've had it. We're not going to do that. There's been an endless history of that attempt under the name of control
Of course.
of thought. It would seem that if one doesn't begin in love, he will not make this act of attention in a non-utilitarian way.
Yes.
He simply will
Non-utilitarian.
make it in a utilitarian, if he doesn't begin
It's not of
in
the
love.
marketplace, quite.
And that's why in one of the very early conversations we had, I take it, you said that the start is the end.
Yeah. The beginning is
The beginning is the end.
First step is the last step.
The first step is the last step.
Quite right.
What I've been thinking about all through our conversations so far is what is involved in, the word involved I don't like. What must one do? Well, that's no good either. There is something, we're speaking about an act that is a radical end to all this nonsense that's been going on, which is a terrifyingly destructive nonsense.
I know, sir.
There is the doing of something.
That is the seeing of all this.
And
Sure.
you've said the seeing is the doing,
Doing.
is the act.
As I see danger, I act. I see the danger of the continuity of thought in terms of pleasure. I see the danger of it, therefore I end it instantly. If I don't see the danger, I carry on. If I don't see the danger of nationality, I'm thinking that's very simple, I carry on. Murdering, dividing, seeking my own say. But if I see the danger of it, it's finished.
May we relate here just for a moment love to education?
Yes, yes.
As a teacher, I'm
Yes, sir.
immensely concerned in this.
So what we have been discussing in our dialogue for the last week and now is part of education.
Of course it is.
It isn't education is there and well, it's educating the mind to a different thing.
I'm thinking of the student who sometimes comes to the teacher and says, I simply must change my way of life. That is, once in a while you'll find a student who is up to here,
I know.
really had it, as we say. The first question they will usually put to you is, what must I do? Now, of course, that's a trap. I've been following you. I've come to see that with much greater clarity than I observed it for myself before. Simply because they're looking for a means when they say that. We're not talking, right, we're not talking about a means.
No. Means is the end. Quite.
I'm thinking of the history of Christianity in this. You've got the question, what must I do to be saved? The answer is, believe on.
On, yes.
And then the poor person is stuck with what this means and ends up believing in belief.
Yes, believing, quite.
And that, of course, is abortive. The student comes and says, what must I do? Now, in our earlier conversation together, we reached the point where the teacher and the student were talking together.
Yes.
We're
doing that now.
We're doing this now.
I'm not your teacher, but we are doing that now.
Well, no, I understand in our conversations that is not your role, but I must confess that it has been working out in this order, because I have learned immensely. There are two things here that I want to get clear, and I need your help. On the one hand, to make this pure act of attention, I need only myself. Is that correct?
No, not quite, sir.
Not quite.
Not quite. So let's put the question first. Question is, what am I to do in this world?
Yes.
That is, what is my place in this world?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the world is me. I'm the world. That's absolute fact.
Mm-hmm.
And what am I to do? The world is this: corrupt, immoral, killing, no lack of love. There is no love. There is superstition, idol worship of the mind and the hand. And there is war. That is the world. What is my relationship to it? My relationship to it only is if I am that. If I am not that, I have no relationship to it.
I understand that in terms of act.
Yeah, that's it.
In terms of act, not a notion that I have.
For me, the world is corrupt, is geared to killing. And I won't kill. What's my relationship to the man who goes and kills a baby seal? I say, my God, how can you do such a thing? You follow, sir? I want to cry about it. I do. How can you educate that man or the society which allows such a thing to happen?
Then perhaps I should rephrase the question and say, well, when I do whatever is done in making this pure act of attention, I am not separated from the world in which I am, and the world is not separate.
Quite from a different angle altogether.
Exactly. Fine.
I come to it, sir, because there is something different in me operating.
Yes.
Compassion, love, intelligence, all that is operating in me.
But it seems that two possibilities are here. On the one hand, making this pure act of attention doesn't require that I be in the physical presence of another human being. But of course I am always in relation, whether I'm there or not.
Of course.
Yes, I fully grasp that. But then the second possibility is that within conversation, as we are enjoying it together now, something occurs, something takes place. It's not that we must be together for it to take place. And it's not that we must be alone for it to take place.